See, it's times like this. It is times like this when I say now Trump's doing what he said he was going to do. Talk about draining the swamp. Now, first of all, let's not forget that he drained the 7th floor group of the Justice Department, also known as, by the FBI, as the shadow government. Yeah. So I covered that. And I also cover things like, oh, he's hiring Goldman Sachs 2, 3, and 4 over here as advisors, and he's, looks like the warmongers are getting to him. I got to cover it all. I'm Realist News, right? Got to cover it. But you want to talk about draining the swamp. Comey, FBI Director Comey, as I like to refer to him as Comey, as in Comey the communist. Comey, hey Comey, remember my TV show? You're fired. Breaking news, Donald Trump has essentially just fired James Comey, head of the FBI, who, as you know, or may not know, I was referred to Martin Armstrong and his economic confidence model and how he was put in jail basically without any real charges. And the club wanted his model of how he can make these accurate predictions of market movements and all this stuff. And he refused to give it up. Then he found himself jailed. Guess who the prosecutor was back in that time frame, which I think was around the year 2002 or 3? None other than James Comey. James Comey had something to do with putting Martin Armstrong in jail. Now he's the head of the FBI. And now he's been fired. Breaking news. Zero Hedge, of course, which I saw this on another site, but I knew Zero Hedge would be covering this, so I'd rather read from what Zero Hedge has because I love Zero Hedge. President Trump fires FBI Director James Comey. The initially amicable, then increasingly more controversial, contentious, and finally rancorous relationship between President Donald Trump and FBI Director James Comey has just ended with a bang. She bang, ooh baby. And with the utterance of Trump's 2 favorite words, you're fired. It brings me immensely great pleasure. Now, I just want to say something. Today, as I'm doing this video, it is 8:26 p.m. Eastern Time, May 9th, 2017. And you know what is 2 days away. So when you see this happened tonight, this evening. So by the time you see this video, it'll be the 10th. And what's after the 10th? May 11th. Sandy Jadeha's special date about watch the markets. We may have some bad news. It's a critical date according to him. But looking at his chart, by chance, whether something happens or not, that little line that goes down is, these little chart cycles in that chart. September is the next line, by chance. And time to kick the can debt ceiling issue. Front and center come September, October timeframe. And again, none other than Mr. Stockman, David Stockman, worked for Ronald Reagan. I just did that video. Is saying red alert. Looks like sometime between August and November. If I had to pin it somewhere, that's where I'd pin it because same reason. Debt problems, fiscal year, all that right there at that moment. However, considering that in, again, technically 2 days or 1.5 days from right now, the 11th, is the special date that Sandy Jadeha, the cyclist, as in cycles, not as in a cyclist riding a bike, has nailed over and over again many of the big moves down on the markets. Dow Jones, S&P, etc. And again, I've been saying this over and over again since I said it the first time back in March. This guy, he says, watch March 13th or whatever the hell the date was, right? For some shaky news on markets. And then the most important date is the 11th of May, he says. He doesn't even really care about that one. It's May 11th. That's the big one for him. And it's simply a high probability of a big market move, not in a good way, according to him. Does it mean it is absolutely certain? Of course not, especially when everything's rigged. Of course not. But damn it, this guy has an unbelievable track record. Okay? So why am I saying that? Because James Comey's been fired. Because this is a major news announcement. This is a big news announcement. And if you're Wall Street, I mean high-level Wall Street, the club Wall Street, oh man, one of our guys, hey, I know a guy. And the guy just got fired, boss. What the hell are we going to do? Our guy just got fired. What are we going to do? I'm going to make him an offer they can't refuse. Flood the markets. Short sell it all. Sell. Sell. Could it happen? Markets, Wednesday morning markets did not respond well to James Comey's firing. Markets unexpectedly fell on James Comey's firing. This is an enormous move when it comes to the term draining the swamp. Yeah, the seventh floor group, people you've never really heard of too much, although it was headed by John Kerry at the time, before, under Barack, John Kerry was part of that group. But there were some other names in there, like, well, who's that person? Who's that? I don't know. And then there's a level below them. They cleaned house on those guys too. That's a good move, right? But then Flynn had to get taken out, and he was a good guy, but they, whatever nonsense, get him out of here. Okay, damn it, Trump, why'd you have to do that? Why can't you just let him stay? But firing the head of the FBI, who is a piece of garbage, this FBI guy, as I mentioned, had something to do with locking up Martin Armstrong. Because back then he was some kind of district attorney or assistant attorney, some crap, who had specific ties to locking him up. Now he's the head of the FBI, and I bet old Marty Armstrong is smiling, grinning from ear to ear. Except James Comey's not getting fired and going to jail. He's just being fired. And will probably promptly be picked up by some Wall Street firm or go give speeches for Wall Street for, $300K a pop. I want you to think about that number, too. These guys get $250, $300K. Barack Obama just got paid by Wall Street to give a speech, paid for by Wall Street, $400K. You could buy 2 decent houses in Florida, $200K a piece. Okay, you could buy 2 houses free and clear like that for giving a very short speech. But the rest of us, how long would it take the rest of us to buy 2 houses? Well, we couldn't buy them cash. We'd have to mortgage them like everybody else, unless we had some kind of major inheritance, and we don't. So we got to work hard for our money. But they just get money thrown at them like that. So anyways, let's get on with this. According to a statement issued by the White House, the firing of Comey comes at the recommendation of both Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein and Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Okay, I got to interject again. What are you going to do about Hillary, Mr. President? What about Hillary? His response? I'm not going to do anything. But if the Attorney General wants to do anything they want, essentially got my blessing, do whatever you want. So if Attorney General Sessions just took out James Comey, who also has been standing up massively for Hillary, there was no, it's real hard to find intent. So, we got to prove intent, and when there's, oh, but wait a minute, there's intent. Oh, and they deleted the stuff off the server after being told not to? That's intent. No, that doesn't count. Or you mean wipe it with a cloth? With a cloth? You stupid moron. One can only hope that this keeps going. Indictment for this one, indictment for that one, firing of this one, firing of that one. New pedophile ring, nailed. Oh, whoa, what's that? Oh, that's what I want to hear. Below is the full statement from the White House. Today, President Donald J. Trump informed FBI Director James Comey that he has been terminated and removed from office. President Trump acted based on the clear recommendations of both Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein and Attorney General Jeff Sessions. The FBI is one of our nation's most cherished and respected institutions, and today will mark a new beginning for our crown jewel of law enforcement, said President Trump. A search for a new permanent FBI director will begin immediately. Below is the letter from Sessions to Trump recommending Comey's termination. Which, interesting. Dear Mr. President, as Attorney General, I am committed to a high level of discipline, integrity, and the rule of law to the Department of Justice, an institution that I deeply respect. Based on my evaluation and for the reasons expressed by the Deputy Attorney General in the attached memorandum, I have concluded that a fresh start is needed at the leadership of the FBI. It is essential that this Department of Justice clearly reaffirm its commitment to longstanding principles that ensure the integrity and fairness of federal investigations and prosecutions. The director of the FBI must be someone who follows faithfully the rules and principles of the Department of Justice and who sets the right example for our law enforcement officials and others in the department. Therefore, I must recommend that you remove Director James B. Comey Jr. When we get home, remind me to punch your mama in the mouth. And identify an experienced and qualified individual to lead the great men and women of the FBI. Sincerely, Jeff Sessions, Attorney General. In the letter from Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, he cites the handling of Comey's Clinton investigation and says that Comey was wrong to cite his conclusions about the Clinton email probe in July of 2016. Quote, I cannot defend the director's handling of the conclusion of the investigation of Secretary Clinton's emails, and I do not understand his refusal to accept the nearly universal judgment that he was mistaken, Rosenstein wrote. Rosenstein was referring to Comey's decision to announce in July last year that the probe of Hillary Clinton should be closed without prosecution, but then declared 11 days before the November 8th election that he had reopened the investigation because of a discovery of a new trove of Clinton-related emails. Democrats say the decision cost Clinton victory. Rosenstein also identified several areas in which he said Comey has erred, saying it was wrong of him to usurp then Attorney General Loretta Lynch's authority by announcing the initial conclusion of the email case on July 5th. Comey announced his own conclusions about the nation's most sensitive criminal investigation without the authorization of duly appointed Justice Department leaders, Rosenstein wrote. Comey also ignored another long-standing principle by holding a news conference to release derogatory information about the subject of a declined criminal investigation. In a separate letter to Comey, Trump said that, quote, you are not able to effectively lead the FBI. New leadership is needed to restore trust. More from Trump's letter to Comey, you are hereby terminated and removed from office effective immediately. While I greatly appreciate you informing me on 3 separate occasions that I am not under investigation, I nevertheless concur with the judgment of the Department of Justice that you are not able to effectively lead the Bureau. Full Trump letter to Comey below, where amusingly Trump notes that the FBI director told him, quote, on 3 separate occasions that he wasn't under investigation. Comey's firing comes days after he testified on Capitol Hill about the FBI's investigation into Russia's election meddling and possible connections between Russia and Trump's campaign. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham said after Comey was fired that he believes a fresh start will serve the FBI and the nation well, and that he encouraged the president to select the most qualified professional available. Excuse me. Man. Others were similarly critical when Senator Mark Warner, vice chairman of Senate Intelligence Committee, saying in a statement that it is deeply troubling that the president has fired the FBI director during an active counterintelligence investigation into improper contacts between the Trump campaign and Russia, and adding that the president's actions today are shocking. Now more than ever, it is vital that our ongoing investigation is completed in a credible and bipartisan way, he said, adding that we also need to hear from former Director James Comey about the FBI investigation and related events. Like McCain, Warner said a special counsel must be appointed. That's the only way the American people will be able to trust the results of any Department of Justice investigation. Every time you government officials have added some kind of committee or special investigate, you've handpicked them, like the 9/11 committee, like the same one, was it the Warren Commission, the one on Iran-Contra scandal in the 1980s, and then one of those guys who was on that commission went to be on the 9/11 commission all those years later. Isn't that amazing? And what did they find? Well, they said we didn't find anything because everything was held from us. Everything that mattered was held from us. So, yeah, here's our results. There's nothing to see here. It's the government's official story, apparently, because we have nothing to add because we weren't allowed to see things we needed to see. Right? Yeah, so in this case, we don't need another committee. I think Trump's got the right people in there. They'll look into this very well. So then, of course, another article from Zero Hedge. All the left is up in arms right now. They're out of their minds right now. This is Nixonian. This is Nixonian. Democrats demand immediate emergency hearings over Comey termination. We need hearings. No, you don't. The FBI is under which branch of government? Judicial? No. Judiciary? No. What's that third one again? Oh, the executive branch, president. That's his group. He can fire him for any reason he wants. Isn't that wonderful? Same with the Department of Justice. In a desperate bid to ensure their flip-flopping over Comey is not misunderstood, and the focus of the narrative remains on the Russia-Trump collusion hoax, Democrats are demanding they get their say over President Trump's termination of FBI Director Comey. Chuck Schumer has called the firing a big mistake. Elizabeth Warren has called for a special prosecutor who Trump can't fire in the Russian election interference probe. And Elijah Cummings has issued a statement demanding immediate emergency hearings. Urgent, emergency, urgent. No. No thanks. Trump's got this. His Department of Justice, they got this. You leftist Democrats, eat your hearts out, okay? Senate Minority Leader Chucky Schumer says he told President Trump that his decision to fire FBI Director James Comey was a big mistake. Isn't he the same one that kind of threatened, remember that in the beginning when Trump was becoming president? He some kind of vile threat towards Trump. Remember that? We can get to you or something. Remember that one? What the hell was it? He said something. Wasn't that him? Wasn't that the same guy? Earlier this afternoon, President Trump called me and informed me he was firing Director Comey. Schumer told reporters on Tuesday, I told the president, Mr. President, with all due respect, you're making a big mistake. In other words, please don't fire our guy. Please don't fire our guy. He's the only guy that's not going to press charges or even advise the Justice Department to press charges or even do any kind of meaningful FBI work or investigations. And we're all real dirty. We are as dirty, and I say we as in the Democrats and Republicans, but we are all dirty, and so is he and his brother. And when you're all dirty, we don't tell on each other. And now you're removing him, which means if you get a probe into anything about any of us, we're going to be in deep, deep, deep trouble. Oh, yeah, that whole pedophile thing, you think you could kind of skip that? Because you're going to find that both the left and the right are deeply rooted in that. What Bot said, do not be surprised when that stuff keeps coming out, and it will, that Republicans aren't brought out too as being part of it, and maybe even more so than the Democrats. That's what the Webbot said. Now, having said that, the Webbot did say it appears Marine Le Pen was going to win. Data was suggesting she's going to win. I will say this, because I'm still following that. Again, 66.06% Macron. They have him standing behind this pyramid thing with a red all-seeing eye thing behind him, giving his speech. Come on. That stuff would have had to been done in advance for him to stand there and know he was going to be there, not her. I think the Webbot is right on that. It's just that's what the language on the internet, that it picks up. She's absolutely going to win. But they rigged it for sure. I saw pictures and pictures and pictures, by the way, of the cards that are mailed to people to vote on. And one family posted all 5 of their cards online. Each of the 5 had a rip in the top right corner. If there's any damage to the card, it is null and void. Not one person showed a Macron card that had damage, but an enormous amount of Le Pen cards that were damaged. Okay? Not even going to do a whole video on that right now, but I do want to mention that. Senator Elizabeth Warren hit President Trump for his bombshell decision to fire FBI Director James Comey on Tuesday, calling on Congress to get their heads out of the sand and use a special prosecutor to investigate Trump. As The Hill reports, Warren responded to the news saying, "We need a real, independent prosecutor who Trump can't fire, Sessions can't intimidate, and Congress can't muzzle." Representative Elijah Cummings on Tuesday demanded immediate emergency hearings over President Trump's firing of James Comey. As The Hill reports, Cummings said in a statement, Congress needs to have immediate emergency hearings to obtain testimony directly from Attorney General Jeff Sessions, the Deputy Attorney General, and FBI Director Comey. No. Former. You misspoke. Former Director of FBI James Comey. The White House was already covering up for former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn by refusing to provide a single document to Congress, and now the president fired the one independent person who was doing the most to investigate President Trump and his 2016 campaign over allegations of coordination with Russia. And over and over and over again, do you have anything on Russia? We don't. We don't have anything proving that Trump and Russia colluded in any way, shape, or form. It would have come out immediately before he could have taken office. They would have been thrown that out there and showed, here's the proof. And they tried doing it, remember? And over again, where's the proof? Well, we don't have any. We don't have any. Then why do you keep saying it? Because we know it's true. Give me the proof. We don't have any. Sounds like it doesn't exist. And here we are months now into this, past the elections, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. We're 6 months into this. Can't find anything still. Let's get a special counsel and special investigator. You had James Comey at the helm. You guys were happy with him. So what? What's happening? Cummings added that Sessions' involvement in Comey's ouster is mind-boggling, noting that Sessions stated that he would recuse himself from investigations into any ties between Trump and Russia. There is now a crisis of confidence at the Justice Department, and President Trump is not being held accountable because House Republicans refuse to work with us to do our job, the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee added. And the rest of the Senate Democrats appeared to be singing from the same hymn sheet, slamming President Trump's decision and drawing comparisons to former President Richard Nixon. "This is Nixonian," Senator Bob Casey, Democrat, said in a statement. Senator Patrick Leahy, Democrat, Vermont, echoed that language, noting that Trump fired Comey in the midst of one of the most critical national security investigations in the history of our country, one that implicates senior officials in the Trump campaign and administration. You guys have had 6 months. If you had some evidence, it would have come out by now, because they cannot stand Donald Trump. They cannot stand him. As I've said, and it's obvious. You saw how it went through the campaigning time and when he became president. You saw the news people's, their faces, oh my God, when they were told Trump won. Shock and awe, worse than Iraq. Operation Shock and Awe. Operation, oh my God, I can't speak, I can't move, I can't believe what I'm looking at. That's not fake. That's real. And that wasn't supposed to happen. So this is a huge positive, little tally mark. I'm keeping tally marks. Good stuff for Trump, bad stuff for Trump. Good stuff. This is a massive. This is like 5 tally marks in a row, all in one swoop by getting rid of Mr. Comey. Can't wait to see who he replaces him with, though, so we'll have to watch that. And again, I hope he just keeps going. Sessions, you want to go ahead and go after the pedophile stuff? Go ahead. Oh, you want to go after the Hillary Clinton? Go ahead. No problem. We do recommend bringing charges. Yep, there was absolutely intent, and there was this. As a matter of fact, it doesn't matter if there was intent or not. That was something Comey made up. We have to prove intent. You don't have to prove intent. There's simple rules, and that's it. You don't have to prove intent. You either do it this way or you don't. If you don't do it this way, you may face some problems. And since you brought a server home in a cabinet in your house, I think there's massive intent there anyways. You went out of your way to buy a server, to create your own domain name, to create email addresses so you and all these people can communicate off the record. And when asked to hold on to those emails, they wiped them anyways. Oh, we didn't know. We forgot. And then all WikiLeaks comes out. Oh, don't worry, we got them. Here you go. We're going to release a bunch of them. Oh, there is a pay to play. Oh my gosh. Hillary Clinton Foundation. Almost zero donations coming in all of a sudden. Why? Because she doesn't have power anymore. And she didn't make it as the president. So naturally, pay to play. I'd like to pay to play, but you can't give me anything now because you're not even in politics anymore. You have no power, so we're going to pull back. Yeah, but all the children and all the great groups that the Clinton Foundation is helping, they still need help. There's still kids who need it, families who need it. Why would these countries and all these other political people across the world not keep giving to the Clinton Foundation? It's a wonderful foundation. Or was it pay to play? And now that the power's gone, we're not paying for something you can't provide us, so the money stops. What is the old saying? Follow the effing money. It's that simple. Take care.